So when we created our little factorial method here, we passed in something that is known as a parameter. Recreate that function again. And so this int x here that we're passing in is a parameter. And it's doing something called passed in by value. And this means that if we had this other int, I'm going to name it z just for clarity reasons. If we use this as our factorial, which will be a big factorial, you can see, sorry, I passed in 24. I meant to pass in z itself. Passing in by value means that we're going to hand factorial the value of 24. We're not passing in the memory location of z. We do not want z to change based on whatever the function does. We want z to change the same. It's just something that we're passing in. But there are ways that you can actually pass in a parameter to actually change the value of that. And in C# there are two ways to do this. The first way is to use the keyword ref, and this means pass by reference. So I'm going to change the factorial method a little bit here so that way it sort of makes sense for the example. We'll do z++ or x++ because that's the name of our parameter. And then we can do console.writeLine. And then I'm going to do inside factorial, so that way we know where we're at here. And then I'm going to print out the value of x. And we're going to say that this is just going to be void, so that way it stops giving an error there. And in order to make sure that the programmer knows that they're using pass by reference value, you also have to specify that you're passing in reference here as well. So I like that because you can actually mess up and it would be bad if you didn't know that you were passing in by reference. So we're also going to do a console.writeLine here, and then we're going to say inside main plus z, and console.readKey. We're going to start it. So as you can see, we have z set to 24, and then we pass in the reference 24. So we're passing in the actual memory location of z. And so we increment it inside of factorial, and then we print out inside factorial, it's 25. And then when we come back out to main again, it's still 25. And if we were to remove the reference from both these places, now we're not passing in by reference, we're passing in by value, just passing in the value. You can see that we make this change within factorial, which increments x to 25, but z out here in main remains 24. It's not going to be changed. So that is using pass by reference, and then there is another keyword that we can use, and it's called out. So I'm going to remove all this code besides this read key because we'll need it later. And so I am going to create a function called split, and basically what it's going to do is it's going to take in a name, right? So Dillon Pietsch, and that has a space in the middle, and the split function is going to split that into two different strings. So we're going to pass in a string called full name, and then say first name, and then out last name. So I'm going to create a new int that's going to be the index of our split. We're going to use the last index of a space. And again, this is a char, so just using that, it's a good thing to know. And then we're going to say the first name is going to be equal to, and I have to actually specify the type here. That's why we're getting errors. Let C# know that these are going to be strings. And then we're basically just going to split apart the string into something called a substring to go from 0 to the index. Then the last name is going to be the full name, that substring. And then all we have to do for this function is actually use the start of it. and then it'll go to the end of the string. So that's basically what we're doing. And then you can see this at play if we have string name, first name, last name. And then I set name equal to Dillon Pietsch. And then I call the split function. I pass in my name, and then pass in first name, last name. So we have to actually initialize these guys too. So I'm just going to initialize them to empty strings. Oh, and we have to use the specifier out. And that actually means that we do not have, or not delete the whole thing, but we actually don't have to specify creating them, because our function will handle creating them. If we do a console.writeLine for first name, and then I'm going to copy this and then do last name, clean up this code a little bit, then we're going to run this. And so the nice thing about out is that it's mainly used for the output or result of a function, so that way you can actually change variables out here. So yeah, just a neat little thing. So it's a different sort of pass by reference thing. I've never seen this before in any language. But yeah, I mean, I'm not sure how often you'd be using this. Pass by reference isn't even used all that often either. So we'll just have to see the use cases for when you actually want to use it.